What's going on, everybody? Gleez here, and in this video we're going to look at performance of Madden 19 on PC. We're going to have real-time benchmarks up in the top left-hand corner, as you can see here, via MSI Afterburner. Now, this was something that I wanted to research online, but I couldn't find any videos about this, so I had to go about researching it myself and figuring out what type of settings are the best based off of your hardware. We're going to look at two different systems. The one system that I have is an Intel i6700K and a 970 graphics card from Nvidia, and that's probably the middle of the ground road. I also have a PC with a Ryzen 2700X and a 1070 Ti. So we're going to look at how the game performs with both of these different types of computers, graphics cards, and we're also going to look at Gsync as well as Vsync and notice the difference a little bit between these systems. So sit back, relax, because it's going to be a good one. So the first rig that we're going to take a look at is the 970 Nvidia GPU with the 6700K Intel processor, overclocked to 4.2 gigahertz, so not an extreme overclock. And we're playing on a BenQ 60 hertz gaming monitor that's basically made for console gaming, and I put no limit on the FPS just to kind of see what would happen and how the game would feel. And it stayed relatively around 60 at times. It would dip down to about 24, 25 on different cutscenes. You can see here that it does start to drop down. The game felt rather jittery, and I figured that it was because I didn't lock the FPS in at 60. We're kind of fluctuating here. So what I decided to do after my first game online was go back in and just lock the frame rate at 60 frames per second. And when I decided to do that, everything worked really, really well. The frames were basically spot on, locking in at 60 frames per second, not dipping down, not even for cutscenes or any of the other things that happened in the game that the original unlocked frames per second seemed to dip down for. So if you're playing on a 1080p 60 hertz monitor and have hardware similar to this, locking in at 60 frames per second is definitely going to be your best bet, especially because your monitor can't output more than 60 frames per second anyway. As you can tell by the percentage of my graphics card that's being used, you probably could get away with something a little bit lower end than a 970 and pull off these same settings. It's working at maximum, it looks like around 60% of the actual memory from the graphics card being used up. So if you have a 4 gigabyte graphics card, in most cases, you're probably going to be okay playing Madden at 60 frames per second locked. Man, look at that fumble. You see that hit stick? Oh man. Next, we're going to take a look at the Ryzen 2700X CPU that is overclocked to 4.0 gigahertz, and it's paired with a 1070 Ti graphics card. This PC is also hooked up to a 1440p Acer Predator Gsync monitor. For those that don't know, Gsync is a chip inside of the monitor that helps to regulate screen tearing. Also keep in mind that Gsync only works with Nvidia graphics cards, so if you have an AMD graphics card, it's not going to work. You're going to be looking for FreeSync monitors, and that is basically the AMD equivalent to Gsync. Whether they work the same or just as well is up for debate, but that's not what this video is about. Now you can see that the frames are well above 60. Now this isn't an accurate representation of how the frames will actually flow with this type of hardware, and the reason why that is because I have to hook my computer up to my high refresh rate Predator monitor with a display port, so I wasn't able to use my external capture card. So at this point I'm actually recording and playing on the same PC. Now, it causes the frames to kind of bounce up and down a little bit. It's still staying mostly above the 144 hertz refresh rate that my monitor plays at, and Gsync helps to keep the game very steady. I don't have any tearing or any type of problems as far as that goes. but the recording and playing at the same time causes the frames to bounce around. So that's why you see that. When you're playing and not recording at the same time, the frames are much more steady and the game experience is just that much better. So my overall impressions as far as how the game plays on PC, as of right now, this is probably the best gaming experience that I've had with Madden. So if you have the high-end hardware and you have a monitor with a very good refresh rate and you're able to really push the software with your hardware to, have tons of frames per second coming out at 1440p, and you're able to rock even in Ultra HD. Some people might be able to get Ultra HD. This is a really, really good gaming experience with Madden on PC, and I'm very, very pleased with it. So hopefully, all of you guys out there that had some type of question about the game, how it plays on PC, what type of hardware you're going to need, what type of settings you're going to use. These are the settings that I use with two different types of PCs, and whether you have a modest type build or you have a high-end type build, you're most likely going to be able to play this game and get a relatively good gaming experience with it. If you have any questions, just leave them down in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer them, as I'm sure there's some things that I didn't cover that some of you guys do have questions about. Also, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to click that subscribe button and make sure you check out my Madden 19 playlist for some tips, gameplays, and some other awesome stuff. I also compete in fighting games, so if you like fighting games, Injustice, Mortal Kombat, definitely check those out too. So that's it, it's Gleez signing out. Thanks for checking in and continue to game strong.